Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Harika. So in this video, I'm going to solve a problem for which we have given a question in our previous video. So the main problem statement for this particular video is how can our chatbots or our agents can hold the conversation, right? So we have seen in the previous video, I tried to ask a question about the conversation that we were having in the chatbot, but however, chatbot was unable to respond properly, right? So in this video, I'm going to explain you how we can do that, and to give you an overview of what we are going to achieve, here is a response. You can see I asked the chatbot what are the latest iPhone models available in the market, and it has provided me these are the various models that are available. And again, I asked what's the price of iPhone 16. It said that it does not have any information or it cannot search for that price. But as I've already told you in the previous video, the responses that it gets from the real time market or by using any tools, it completely depends upon the discretion of the uh, LLM whether to use tool or not. So because we have completely given the control to the LLM to choose whether the tool is needed or not. So that's why it thought that there's no need of using tool, and it has given me that it does not know the information. But then I have asked a question like this: use the tool to search the price and provide me the answer. And if you see here, I did not say. I want you to observe two things here. I asked, I have given a prompt in such a way that I said it to use the tool and search the price. I did not say search the price of what, right? If you observe here, it has searched the price for iPhone 16, which I have asked in the previous prompt, right? That means it is holding the conversation. It has understood that my query is regarding the price of iPhone 16, right? And it has given me the answer, right? And what else I want you to understand here is it has given me the iPhone 16 and the black color. So I asked what is the color of the model you mentioned above, and then the model I mentioned above is the renewed iPhone 16 black, and the color is black, right? So if you observe here we have actually solved two problems. One is we are narrating or directing the LLM to choose the prompt, to choose the tool through the prompt. That's the first thing. And the second thing that we have mentioned over here is a conversation. The conversation has been built and carried forward through the model, right? So how we have maintained that conversation, how the agent or the chatbot could able to retain that conversation is something I'm going to showcase in this particular video. Okay, so before you do that, let me just quickly showcase you LangGraph. So this should be your go-to guide in order to refer to syntax or the workflow, how you can integrate and everything. So what I've done in the previous video, we've added tools. We know how we have taken each and every step. So what you can do is similar to that, you can either copy paste and modify the required details. Otherwise, you can just follow whatever I'm telling over here. Okay, so what I've done is I've actually taken this particular piece of code, okay, and then let me just explain you what's there in this, because you need to understand why we are writing these lines of code. Otherwise, it's completely irrelevant to just copy and paste it over here, because we need to see how these will be modified or this needs to be tweaked in future if there needs a customization. Okay, so now firstly, apart from all the imports that we have done earlier, the only new import that we are going to do over here is memory, because we are adding memory to our chatbot, right? It needs to hold the context that we are going through and the conversations in that particular uh, chat, right? So even if you observe any of the GPT models, everything holds the conversation in the chat window, right? So if you are going out of the chat window, for sure the conversation will be starting as a fresh one, but within the chat window it is still carried as a conversation, right? So this is something you need to use, which is memory saver. Okay, and we have seen that we've used the tools, but we are also adding the memory, and we are adding it into our variable called memory. Okay, and post that, rest all remains the same. But so first thing I want you guys to remember is, whenever we are building a agent or chatbot using the LangGraph, the main important things that comes into picture, which we've discussed in the first video itself, is state, then the node, edges, conditional edges, right? So now here in this whole thing, the graph remains same. As per what we have builded with chatbot with tools, the graph remains the same, but we are adding memory to this, right? So let me just show you. We are not touching anything that we have developed earlier with chatbot with tools, right? The same state will be there. We are using the same LLM, and we combined with the tools in the previous video itself, and rest all remains the same. And if you observe here, this is a graph, this is a node we are using, and these are the edges. But when we are compiling the graph, right? When we are compiling the graph, we are adding the memory to it, correct? Because we want that memory to be carried throughout, right? So now if I just, I think I've not given that portion where we actually see the graph. Let me just showcase you that one as well. Mm, Okay, let's just display the graph as well. Okay, yeah. So now let me just run this. So, okay, so if you see here, it is the same graph, right? But internally, we are passing the memory within the graph, right? But look wise, and the way it is traveling from start node to chatbot, and from chatbot, we are giving the power to decide whether the tool is needed or not. If tool is needed, it will take the tool and send it back to the chatbot. Right, the details it will send it back to the chatbot, and then if the tool is not needed, directly it will go to the end state. But initially, when we are just using only tools, there was no memory. If you remember here, chatbot with tools, see, I need provide me the rate or price of the second one in the list. It says I need a list because it does not hold the memory from the previous response that it has provided, right? So that's why we are building the memory to our agent by using this one, this particular method. Okay. So when we are compiling the graph, we are also sending the memory which we have created over here, memory saver. Okay, and post that, we are displaying this is same as what we have seen. I want you guys to understand one more new concept here, which is thread ID. Okay, so I've also taken one small example in order to showcase what is thread ID and how it will be used and all of that across. So first thing, if you observe here, there is one small slight difference when compared to tools and the memory. So whenever we are making any conversation in that particular, let's say, chat, every conversation will be considered as a thread. Let's take it that way. So I have also taken one small example to showcase you from Claude. Let me just show you this one. Okay, yeah. So I think this one may be the example. Okay, this is the one. So if you observe here, firstly, there is one thread that we are maintaining. If there is no thread ID, then there is no memory. Okay, but if there is a thread, so let's say for example, in this conversation, the this is the conversation. Okay, so he says my name is John, and it knows that the conversation, the particular person who is doing the conversation is John. right? So in that the configuration, we have provided the thread ID as John chart. This is the thread ID for this particular conversation. And next time in that particular same thread, if you're asking what's my name, it's gonna provide you, right? But if you go to a different thread like Mary chat, and if you ask what is your name, it is not going to provide you, because you're asking in a different thread, right? It will not have any information about it, right? So similar to that, if you observe here, yeah. So similar to that, we are actually giving something like this. So for every config, we have to provide a thread ID, right? So now for each different conversation, we have different thread IDs. But here, the real thing lies over here. So if you see here, whenever we are doing some conversation, let's say for example, I'm trying to pass a question over here, right? So now my question is about iPhone. I will ask something about iPhone, and I will keep on continuing that conversation. So we are in that particular, let's consider it as a chat room. Okay. So we are in the chat room. So until unless you exit that, that whole thing will be considered as a thread. So when you're continuing that conversation, and if you're asking something within that conversation or within that room, so that can be provided, that whole thread ID can be called as default config. Okay, so if you observe here, the config is the default config. Means if you are in that room, right? If you are in that chat room, whatever you are asking within that conversation will be holded in the memory. Okay, and whatever relative information you are asking can be responded appropriately. So let's say for example, you in the previous example, I've asked about the price of iPhone 16. It said it does not have, and I said use the tool and get the price. I did not say again iPhone 16, but it got it because I am in the same room. So what does default config does is it will try to get the thread ID of that exact session basically, right? So if you see here, thread ID is the default session. That means if you are in a chat room, so whatever the conversation or whatever the session that is open for that chat conversation will be considered as a thread ID, default session thread ID, and it will be provided to the default config. Okay, I hope I've made this concept clear to you. So I've even checked some examples in the Claude in order to keep this simple for you. So if at all you need more information or more examples, please do let me know in the comments. I will try to come up with something from my side. Okay. And apart from that, let's go back to yes. Apart from that, rest all remains the same. However, we are having is the in the previous example, like how we are showcasing in the streaming while you are searching and the output is coming in the same panel. So similar to that, we have just created something like this, and this and all are remaining the same. So now let's execute this and see. I wish my LLM takes the right decision and remembers the uh, prompts and everything. So let's see what it does. What are the latest iPhone models available in market? Okay. So the latest models are 16 series, 16 plus, Pro Max, and all of that. So I would say, um, what's the price of second one? What is the price of second second model you have provided in the response? And let's see how it will give the answer. I'm sorry, I don't have the price for the iPhone models. I search results, use tools to search for the price. Based on the search results, 16 plus. If you see, first thing, I did not say it's 16 plus because I just said second model. Second model is 16 plus. It could able to do the reasoning, step by step reasoning, and it understood that second model means I refer to 16 plus. And then I told to use the tools, and then it used the tools, which is my Tably search, and then it has extracted me the price. Perfect. This is awesome. This is what I was expecting. Um, Thank you for the response. That's it. So nice. This is how you can actually use the conversation agent in order to get the details by using the tools, and also reasoning can be done by your LLM, whether to use the tools or not. If at all your LLM is not so powerful, I would say give the prompt in such a way that it is considering to use the tools in case it does not find any information. And also, this is how you can use the memory in order to keep the conversation going on in that chat room. So I hope we have seen a few things in this particular video with respect to memory saver, threading, thread IDs, and how it will be using the default session in order to hold the conversation within that particular chat room. So I hope you found this video insightful. If at all, please do let me know in the comments, and I will come up with the next concept soon. So, till then, if you have any questions, you can DM me on LinkedIn, and I will be ready to help you on any topic. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.